Alright, what's going on, everybody? This is the Straight Through here, back to a brand new video. More March Madness recaps. Sweet 16 is upon us. Had a 3-day break between the round of 32 and into the Sweet 16. Teams to rest and prepare. And it was a beautiful, beautiful Sweet 16. Let's go ahead and get into it. First up, 11 seed Texas, one of the Cinderellas for the first two. Texas and Iowa are technically our Cinderellas this year, albeit Texas and Iowa are still a bigger school. They're playing Purdue. And Texas had them swinging. I had a feeling this would be a close game down to the wire that your team could win this. I personally had Texas in my bracket, so I did incorrectly predict this upset. Trayvon Mark, who has been pretty much their guy throughout March Madness in terms of, I can see here, Elite 8 is starting right now. A little bit of a spoiler, but let's see, where is he? Trayvon Mark had 29 points, 5 of 7 3-point range. I mean, he was lights out. He's had a tremendous season. Pope broke his foot and still played really, really well. 12 points, 4 of 9 shooting. Texas was down for most of the game. It was a close game for most of the way, but Purdue had the lead for most of the game, and then Texas comes back, gets an and-one drive to tie the ball game up. 11 seconds left for Purdue to make a move. Smith goes down, puts up a mid-range shot, misses it, but Purdue is able to get a putback to the rebound and score as the time clicks 0 and Purdue survives Texas 79-77. Both teams shooting very well, field goal range 48 and 51. Both teams shooting. Texas shot really good from 3, 44%. Purdue only shot 20%. But you can see here, Texas, their downfall were their free throw shooting, only 53%. So imagine they would have made 2 more, tie game, 3 more, they win. So 4 free throw shooting, about the same rebounds. Purdue only gave up 4 turnovers, which is really, really impressive. Texas had 7, also very, very impressive. So both teams played really well. And this was a beautiful game, but Purdue gets it done and knocks out the lowest seed remaining. Iowa continues their magical run, especially when you consider the players. Their coach, former Division II powerhouse coach that won like 4 championships in I think 6 years, with 2 players, no 5 stars, 2 players that were former Division II players. And they beat Nebraska. Also cool thing about Nebraska, despite being a Power 5 school, never been a good basketball school. I've been to March Madness a few times, but have never won March Madness before. They got to the Sweet 16 this year. However, Iowa wins 77-71. At the end of the game, Iowa gets a fast break 2 and a dunk and one, which pretty much ices the game. And Nebraska only had 4 players on the court at that time, so a blunder. Iowa pulls away late. Illinois and Houston. This game seems a little bit closer than it was. Illinois was pretty much up by 10 the entire game. Let's go ahead and look at the stats here. I'm talking about Sturts, this guy. He had 20 points. He is our bread and butter. Cool stat about him. He's played every single minute, every single second of the entire March Madness and has only given up 1 turnover the entire tournament. He is their X Factor. Everything runs through him. One of the most underrated guards in the entire nation. Really great guard. Going into Illinois and Houston. I mean, Houston only scored 55 points, which is really, really low. The other team shooting it, I mean, almost 40% from 3 is not too bad. But Houston put up almost 10 more shots, but didn't make any more. So they were not shooting too well. Only shot 2 free throws the entire game. Got rebounded by 10, which is normally in Houston, not rebounds teams. But as you can see here on Houston's team, 0 of 3, 1 of 3, 3 of 10, 2 of 6, 37, 0-3. They just did not have a good game. Illinois, in my personal opinion, was probably, from my point of view, the weakest three seed. They are a very, very talented offensive team, but I, like many others, counted them out, and they are in the Elite Eight for the first time, I believe, since like 2000, or they're trying to make this the Final Four for the first time since like 2001, maybe. Arkansas and Arizona, no shock here. Arkansas is a great team. They have the best guard in the country, that is Acuff Jr. He had 28 points, only was 1 of 5 from 3. This guy's 1 of 7, 1 of 4. So not a good shooting night for Arkansas. They had a great game. They had to shoot about 40% from 3. Pretty good free throws. I mean, Arizona had 39 free throws, but the same turnovers, still pretty good. Arizona pulls away late, 109, 89, almost 20 point, 88, almost 20 point game. Arizona is looking like the surefire best team in the nation by a long shot. Their average margin of victory so far in March Madness is around 20 points, if not a little bit higher. Arkansas just comes up to a team that's just too much for them. What a fantastic season for John Calipari and Arkansas. They are on the up and up. I feel like Kentucky feels very stupid for getting rid of John Calipari at this point. That's the first day. Go ahead and go on to yesterday. First game, Duke and St. John's. Cool fact about Duke. Every time they won a championship, they have beaten St. John's sometime in the season. So then and again, maybe they win the championship this year, maybe not. This was a absolute dogfight. St. John's, Rick Pitino, one of the best coaches of all time. He is the first coach in the history of college basketball to make the Sweet 16 in 5 different generations. He's been coaching for about 52 years. It's really crazy to think about. He's a hard-nosed coach. He gets in your face, he screams at you, yells at you, cusses at you. And his teams play hard. They play tough, physical basketball. They pressure you every pass, every dribble. They're going to pressure you. And at first, Duke folded. They folded hard. St. John's was up by 10 early, and it was all St. John's. I mean, Duke seemed to be playing scared, playing weak. St. John's was hitting them in the mouth, and Duke was not responding. And then Duke finally responded. They went on like a 22 to like 5 run. And then St. John's responded. Let's go ahead and look at these stats here. St. John's 3-point percentage was insane. 13 and 32, 40%. This was much higher. There was a point where they were 12 of 22. So if we go do that math real quick, it's over 50%. Let's do that math. I got a calculator. 22 divided by 12. Wait, no. 12 divided by 22. I'm an idiot. That's 54%. So at one point they're at 54%. Their last 8 shots, they made 1. Let's go ahead and discuss more of this. So Duke gets up. So it's St. John's at first. They're up by about 10. Then Duke pulls ahead. And then St. John's pulls ahead. And they end up leading at the half. They were shooting lights out. They had one player. Where is he? This guy, R. Prey. Played the first half, 12 points, 4-4, 4-4, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. This guy was everywhere. Not only was he getting rebounds and assists, but he was getting deflections. And he was playing physically very, very hard. He was like the X factor. He was like their spark in the first half. But we'll get back to that later. So St. John's is leading. Duke is undefeated when they're 5-0. They were 5-0, now 6-0, being down at the half. They are also 6-0 when being down by 10 plus points. So Duke is a team that they do not quit. No matter how bad the odds are, they come back. At second half, St. John's comes out swinging. Duke has 3 turnovers, like bam, bam, bam. And I discussed this when I thought about this. The way St. John's win this game, you can tell Duke has not had a very good start to the tournament. They were down by 13 to a 16 seed. They're down at TCU. Barely beat TCU. They've been turnover prone. They average 10.6 turnovers a game throughout the season. In March Madness, they're averaging almost 13 turnovers. This game only had 9. I believe at the half, they had 7. or 6 maybe, and they only had 3. They had like 3 or at least 2 in the first couple minutes of the game. Only had maybe 1 more the rest of the time. So they limited their look at this. St. John's only had 6 turnovers. But the big thing for Duke was in that second half, they stopped turning the ball over. They switched to zone, which caused St. John's to run all their sets more out, and they couldn't get any paint touches. They couldn't get down low. They were jacking up mid-range shots. They were heavily covered and jacking up more threes, and they were missing it. And then Duke on offense was getting to the paint finally. It seemed as though they weren't afraid of contact anymore. Another cool fact, Caleb Foster, final game of the regular season, he breaks his foot, was in a crutch just 2 weeks ago in a boot. He comes into the game, scores 11 points, 5 of 8 field goal range, 3 rounds, 2 assists, and he was driving. Like, they could not stop him on the drive. And he was getting there and getting tough shots. He was like the spark that caused Duke to win this game. Those 18 crucial minutes that he played. Gumba came back in. Great defense. Duke's defense, when they switched to zone, stifled St. John's for the rest of the game. They had such a hard time scoring. And all the shots they were putting up normally were not good shots. And Duke secures victory. 53% field goal range. Free throws. Again, people are always talking about, Duke always shoots way more free throws. Here's the thing. Duke lives and breathes on the drive for the basket and getting paint touches. If you do that, you're going to cause the team to foul you a lot more. It's part of their game plan. They are not really that big of a shoot. They don't jack up threes. Like, look, they only shot 14 threes. St. John's shot 32. They do not shoot the three a lot at all. They drive and they drive and they drive and they drive and then they drive some more. And they get it into Boozer or Gumba and they just go to work in the paint. Which causes teams to foul you a lot more. Which causes you at the free throw line a lot more. It is a bread and butter, bull-nosed, old-school style of basketball that Duke does to a T. It's their entire game plan. And people are complaining that Duke gets an unfair whistle. That is not the case because people just don't know basketball and don't know that if you play the way Duke plays, you're going to get the free throw line. You're going to get more foul calls. I mean, look at the fouls. Only a 7-point difference. That's not a lot. But Duke secures the win, 80-75. Boozer in that second half went off. 22 points. Isaiah Evans had a monster game, 25 points, 10 of 15, and 4 of 8. Brown, also great defender. 8 rebounds, 4 blocks, 2 steals. James Starr, also a great on-ball defender. Caden Boozer had a decent game. He did have, I think, like 3 or 4 turnovers himself. But that was a tough test for Duke that Duke really needed. They need more tough tests to prove that they belong in March Madness, and they continue on. I personally believe that the winner of this game is going to go to the Final Four of their region. Alabama and Michigan. Alabama, one of those teams that they shoot a lot of threes. And if they make them, they can beat anybody. They shot 47 three-pointers. That's insane. Only made 14. They shot 29%. So imagine if they were on fire and they would have shot 35 to 40%. They're in this game. They might win this game. But they had a cold shooting night. They weren't making as much. They committed 19 fouls. Got out rebounded. Again, Michigan is a way bigger team than them, so it's no shock they got out rebounded. Michigan is probably arguably the biggest team, tallest team in the nation. Had 35 points. This guy was 3 of 12. That's not good. 0 of 4 is not good. 1 of 5. Not very good. This guy was 0 of 4. But yeah, the shots weren't falling for Alabama, and they lost. And that's as simple as it is. If Alabama's shots were falling, they might have won this game, but they weren't. Michigan State and UConn. This game was crazy. UConn was up big. They're up by 20 points almost immediately, or 19 points. After 10 minutes, Michigan State had only scored, I believe, 8 or 6 points. They didn't score for almost 10 straight minutes. And they pulled it back. They were within, I believe, 10, 11, or 9 at the half. And then in the last minute or so, it was a tie ball game. But UConn pulls away late. They shot 40% from 3, pretty good. Michigan State, 25 was really bad. Neither team shooting that great from free throw range. Michigan State got the rebounds, same amount of turnovers, but UConn does those final, like this game looked like UConn might blow them out. And then again, Tom Izzo is one of the best coaches of all time. He got his troops together. They played hard nose, punched UConn in the face, and brought it back. Again, that last minute, last even 30 seconds, it was tied. And UConn just has those 1 or 2 more possessions that they needed to win the game. And they march on 67-63. Tennessee and Iowa State, this was a big shock here. This was Tennessee all game long. Abysmal 5 of 23 for 3-point range. 60% free throws is not good. You missed 10. Got rebounded by over 20. Iowa State did not play a good game. Arguably, they're one of their worst games. And Tennessee honestly was up by 10 almost for a good majority of the game. Like, this was Tennessee's game all game long. Iowa State, in my opinion, I've had them picked in the Final Four. I thought they were going to upset Michigan and go to the Final Four. And Tennessee has their 3rd straight Elite Eight. A lot of people, I personally had them losing the first round. I really did. A lot of people counted them out, myself included. They're now headed to the Elite Eight and will face Michigan. Iowa State struggled offensively, did not have a good game at all, and they fall to the 6th seed Tennessee. So let's go ahead and go to the official bracket and see what we've got cooking for the Elite Eight. I've got a game going on right now. Duke and UConn 1 and 2 matchup is going to be absolute cinema. UConn is one of the best offensive teams in the nation. They do a lot of pick and roll and a lot of cutting. They are a X's and O's offense. They score at will, going up against the best defense in the entire nation of Duke. This is going to be a bloodbath of 2 polar opposite teams. One team is the best offensive team in the nation. One team is the best defensive team in the nation. Who is going to win? How is Duke going to try and stop all UConn scoring? And then can UConn stop Duke getting into the paint and try and turn them over? This is going to be absolute bloodbath, down to the wire game for Duke. I believe Duke, if Duke wins the championship, every game they are going to play is going to be down the wire. Look, down the wire, down the wire. Came back and won, came back and won, came back and won. This is going to be a great game. I can't wait to watch that game. Playing right now, Iowa and Illinois. Iowa can do the unthinkable here and go to the Final Four. The unthinkable. They beat Florida, the defending national champion. And Illinois, again, a 3 seed, but not very many people picked them to be moving on at this point. This is a beautiful game. Personally, would like to see Iowa win with their coach and their player who are Division II guys. They're really cool. Over here, Tennessee again. 3rd straight Elite Eight. A lot of people counted them out, as I did. They're playing Michigan. I would say of all the 3-1 seeds, it would be Arizona, Duke, and Michigan as the top guys. Can Tennessee pull off a huge upset and beat Michigan? Up here, Purdue and Arizona. I personally had Purdue losing right here to Texas. Arizona, look at this margin of victory. This was their closest game against Utah State, but their average margin of victory is 20 points. Can Purdue stick with them? I personally don't think. I think Arizona's going to win this game by 10 to 15. I will say, yes, Purdue is a 2 seed, but if they beat Arizona, this is going to be a huge upset. This is what we got going. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe for more content. Make sure to comment down below how your bracket is doing. Have you correctly predicted some upsets and you're doing pretty good, or have your bracket been absolutely dismantled and destroyed and busted? Mine's still doing pretty good. For me, like, I had Duke here and Michigan State instead. I had Arizona and Texas. Obviously here I had Houston and Florida. Here I had Michigan and Iowa State. Not too bad. I could get at least 2 of the Final Four correct, but I've done pretty good. The first day I was undefeated, but Anyways, appreciate a little support. As always, subscribe for more content, leave a like, and I will see you guys next video for the Elite 8. And the Final Four will be the Final Four in the championship game. But anyways, Z3 signing out. Stay frosty, y'all.